Hi, thanks for joining us today. It's a really exciting day for Ridgeline Minerals. They went public this morning. The stocks performed really, really well. I think it's up 40% right now on pretty decent volume. So it's an exciting start to trading. With me today, I have Chad Peters, who's CEO of Ridgeline Minerals, and he's going to walk us through the story. Just before we get started, a couple things. First off, this presentation will contain forward-looking statements. If you'd like to know more about those, you can check them out on the company's disclosure on their website. And there will be a Q&A session at the end. So if you have questions, you can put them in the Q&A box at the bottom, or you can email them to me at deborah@adcap.ca. With that out of the way, I'd like to introduce Chad, who, like I said, is CEO of Ridgeline Minerals. Ridgeline has a portfolio of exploration assets in Nevada. And like I said, they just went public this morning. So hi, Chad. Nice to see you.
Hi, Deborah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great. What an exciting day. You must be happy.
Yeah, no, we're definitely we're happy it went up instead of down. That's always an option. So we're happy it's trending the right way.
Great. Well, why don't you introduce yourself, give us a bit of your background, and walk us through the story.
Yeah, you bet. So I'm actually a geologist. Started my career up in Canada working for Ewan Downey and the Premier Gold Mines crew. Had an opportunity to come down to Nevada in 2012 and been here ever since. So was able to be the U.S. exploration manager for Premier's team, participated in a lot of discoveries over the years, had some great teams to work with. And in 2018, I co-founded Ridgeline Minerals with a drilling company. So the whole point behind that, kind of the genesis of the company was that, how do we set ourselves apart from the average exploration company out there? There's lots to pick from. And the idea is there's a ton of potential left in Nevada, and we wanted to come in, pick up some key assets, and provide a kind of an edge to our peers, I guess you could say, by providing a very cheap drilling contract. What this means is just that we can essentially drill more feet with every dollar than any of our peers, and it allows us to increase our odds of making a discovery. So it's a business model that we're really excited about. And we think that we're going to have success with it. So why don't I start on the presentation? Okay, so as Deborah mentioned, we just went public today. We're really excited to be finally trading. We want to thank all of our shareholders, our team, our families who've put up with a lot of hard months here getting this all together. So we're very excited to be now trading. So I'm going to walk through kind of the general structure of the company, and then I'm going to focus on our projects, which I think is obviously the core of the company, right? So quick disclaimer, as Deborah mentioned, there will be forward-looking statements, but I'll try to keep it in line here. I think it's a tough thing for geos in general. So why invest in Ridgeline Minerals? We are a Nevada-focused gold explorer. We have a huge land package in Nevada across 3 projects, so 116 square kilometers. And these projects are located in the Carlin and Battle Mountain Eureka trends. Now, these 2 trends have produced the majority of gold that's come out of Nevada. It's pretty much since the Carlin trend was discovered in the 1960s. And in our opinion, it's the only place to be in Nevada. So, like I mentioned before, we have the drilling expertise. We have the partnership. My co-founder owns a drilling company. Our team itself has had decades of experience finding multiple gold deposits worldwide, including multiple deposits in Nevada itself. And then on top of that, management is very firmly aligned with its shareholders. So heading into the IPO, we owned over 20%. Every one of us on the management team participated in the IPO, and we're currently at about 17% ownership, and we're fully aligned with our shareholders. So what that allows with the closing of a $5 million IPO is we can go out and have a very catalyst-rich second half to the year. We're going to be drilling just under 6,000 meters across all 3 projects, and the whole goal is to go out and make a discovery. A few key points to point out with our team. Myself and my Vice President of Exploration, Mike Harp, we've been working collectively in Nevada for 20 combined years now, and we've been lucky enough to work for some great teams. Myself with Premier Gold Mines led the CSD Gap discovery. Mike Harp with his team at Gold Standard Ventures was part of a significant amount of discovery, over 5 million ounces across their entire land package. And he was directly responsible for the drilling of the North Dark Star discovery and later delineation. So, Nevada's our backyard. Mike and I both live here on the trends. I live in Winnemucca. Mike lives in Elko. And, we're just focused on making a discovery. It's the whole reason we started the company. So, and then we've built what we're working on now is we're building a great team around us, folks who've done it before. And we think we're going to have some success. So our corporate structure, as I mentioned, we are firmly aligned with our shareholders with over 17% held by management. We have working capital as of June 30th of 1.6 million. And then on top of that, we closed on August 13th, upsized and heavily subscribed IPO of $5 million at 45 cents. So in total, we've raised over 9.7 million across the last 2 years. And we have a very tight share structure. We have 48 million shares outstanding, 3.3 million options, 6.2 million warrants, and a total issued and outstanding float of 57.6 million shares. So we like to think that our stock, with the treasury that we have and the drilling contract, we're well positioned to go out and advance our projects. And we still have a tight enough share structure here that there could be some real torque to the stock with any drilling success. So we have 3 projects in Nevada. As I mentioned, they're on the 2 key trends, the Carlin East and the Battle Mountain trends. It's funny, actually, the Carlin East and Swift projects are kind of the 2 projects that we initially were able to raise money on as a junior company when we got founded in 2018. It was still a really difficult market. And what we realized was that, both the Carlin East and Swift projects, their core land positions right beside some huge mines in Nevada. And they had a ton of potential, but what we didn't realize was how exciting the Salina project could get. So when COVID hit, we actually retooled our exploration focus, and we kind of took a step back and went, well, Carlin East and Swift, as exciting a targets as they are, they're deeper holes. They cost a lot of money to drill, and there's no guarantee of success in any exploration project, right? So what can we focus on that's going to add value per share to our shareholders? In a difficult market with COVID, we really didn't know when we were going to raise money again. So we refocused on Salina, and we've been happily surprised by the results. And I'm going to walk through Salina first here. It's what we're currently drilling right now. The project, 1,000-meter drill program, and it's a shallow oxide opportunity with already proven mineralization. Sorry, I had a call come in. We're just heading into that project now. So we're really excited about the potential. So the Salina project, 26 square kilometer land package, 100% owned, and directly adjacent to McEwen Mining's Golden Butte mine directly to the north. We have a BLM notice of intent permit to drill over 22 drill sites and over three targets with a combined strike of 3+ kilometers. So we think it's a really exciting opportunity. And if you look at this image right here, the main thing I want to point out on the right-hand side is you can see that we're right on the southeast corner of the extension of the South Carlin Trend. The Bald Mountain mine directly to the northeast, only 12 kilometers, or northwest. That mine produces 150,000 ounces per year out of Kinross Gold. The Alligator Ridge mine, which is also owned by Kinross Gold, is a historic operation, well over 1 million ounce historic production of pretty high grades too, well over 1 gram per ton in many cases. And it's hosted in the exact same host rocks as what we're looking for at Salina. So we see an opportunity to go after an Alligator Ridge type of analog at the Salina project. And if you look over to the left, you can see that what we started with was the Chinchilla target. That was the best known, it's right in the middle. That was the best known target. From previous operators, EMX had come in and trenched 20 meters of 0.668, I believe, across that target. So we came in, we started mapping it, and we did some trenches across it of our own directly across the structure, and we were really surprised by what we saw. So we ended up getting in trench 4, 38 meters of 0.75 gold, 49 grams silver. This had multiple intercepts of greater than 1 gram per ton, over pretty wide, up to 10 meters across it. Then in trench 5, which was just 100 meters up the hill, we hit 50 meters of 0.64 and 16 grams silver with multiple greater than 1 gram per ton intercepts. Now, just to put this in perspective, getting anything that falls in the range of 3/4 gram to 1 gram per ton material in Nevada is very exciting. Shallow oxide gold is what built kind of the Nevada mining industry. Of course, now a lot of projects we're going deeper. That's what our Swift and our Carlin East projects represent. But at the end of the day, some of the best value that you can find in Nevada will come from an oxide heap leach project. So we're really excited about what we're starting to see. So as we were trenching Chinchilla and doing that work, we were also advancing the Juniper target, which was a parallel structural target to the south. And what really got us excited about Juniper is the rock chips that we're getting in jasperoid altered rock right at surface. We're getting up to 16.5 grams gold, 460 grams silver, 5.4 grams gold. 1,500 grams silver. You can see right here, I'm gonna just throw a little line around it, right in this area here. I mean, those are really, really exciting grades. And, you know, it had never had a drill hole on it to test. So what we did is while we were advancing juniper, we actually went in and did a phase 1 program, which we're going to look at now. If you look to AA prime, which will be looking north across Chinchilla, this was our phase 1 drilling program. This is our conceptual geologic model. And what we did is we went in and we drilled underneath these trenches because we wanted to see, okay, what's the continuity to the system? We're getting great grades at surface in the Gilmet limestone, which is that gray rock unit there on the section. That's not even a very, you know, regionally considered a very good host. So we came in, we drilled 4 holes. We hit oxide gold, silver in 3 of 4, had a highlight intercept of 9 meters of 0.57 gold and 7 grams silver in hole number 2. And what we realized with all of this is, although we're hitting consistent grade, you know, up to 100 feet beneath these trenches, the Gilmet is tightening up and it's not quite as good of a host as what we'd like to see. Now, the host that we actually want to be working with is this guy right here. You can see in my blue, this is the Pilot Shale. That contact regionally hosts most of the gold mines in the South Carlin Trend. Now, what we realized when we were drilling, if you follow that line up, that would be the projection of that Pilot Shale contact. So all of the gold grade along that contact has since been eroded off along that hillside. Now, what that means for us is that what we were trenching along the hillside would be maybe, let's say, the bottom third of that original system. That's what we suspected, but we wanted to confirm it before we started moving on to down the hill towards the Pilot Shale. So that's what we're doing now, is we're drilling our phase 2 program. And you can see right here, that's these black lines. We're drilling our phase 2 program right at the Pilot Gilmet contact in an effort to see that fully preserved system under shallow cover in the valley. So what we're seeing along the hillside in phase 1, trenching and drilling, is, we believe, is a sign of what could be going on down in the valley. Now, at the same time, we also see pretty decent arsenic and soils anomalies, up to 100 ppm arsenic. Now, again, that would be just a sign of that covered system kind of bleeding up along structures and faults, and that's that surficial expression that we see. So overall, we're very excited about the Chinchilla target. It's got over 1 kilometer of potential strike to it if we can confirm that that geologic model with the phase 2 program. And then what's really exciting, I guess, for us is not only is Chinchilla a great target in its own right, but if we head down 1 kilometer to the south, you have the exact same setup at the Juniper target. The only difference is that the Pilot Shale is far closer to surface and has seen far less erosion along that hillside. So if you look, we're seeing, you know, 6 grams gold, 260 silver. I mean, we're seeing incredible gold grades along that jasperite outcrop along the hillside, but far less of it has been eroded off. Sorry, I accidentally had my eraser. So far less of that system has been eroded off at Juniper than at Chinchilla. So what our step while we're testing, the first step was to test the Chinchilla target. We're currently drilling Juniper right now, actually, and we're testing the same conceptual target beneath the Pilot Shale, but what we believe may be potentially a system, a part of the system that's showing a stronger expression. And that is also supported by, if you look to the surface, look at the scale of these arsenic anomalies cropping out along all of these structures. What that is bleed up along all of these faults that are feeding this system and bleeding up to surface. And 300 to 900 ppm arsenic is incredibly strong in surface soils for a system that would be covered under shallow cover like we're seeing. So we're very excited about what we're seeing at surface. We're seeing high grades. The next step now is we didn't put any holes underneath the hillside. We know that where we want to be is going down the hill into the valley. So that's what we're working on right now. We're going to be testing that target. And if we're correct at Juniper, there's over 1.5 kilometers of strike to that system. So very exciting potential there. So now we're going to head over to our project Catalyst. Main thing I want to point out, and I think this is a key thing for Ridgeline, it's part of our whole exploration model, is that you do the baseline work first before you go drill holes. The last thing you want to be doing is throwing out pot shots, you know, holes that haven't been well thought through. That's investor money. So we have done all of the field work first. We've done the 3D model generation, the mapping, the prospecting, the permitting, all of that baseline work to come in and really put together a solid geologic model on each one of these targets. The only thing left to do is now test those targets. So we're as I mentioned, we're drilling that the Salina project right now. We expect assay results within, let's say, a month at the latest, and we hope that we're going to see some success. So heading over to the Carlin East project. This project is actually what we were able to raise our money on originally as a company back in 2019. Times were really tough, and it's an incredible land package right in the heart of the Carlin Trend, and it's directly on strike of the Leeville mine and adjacent to the Gold Strike complex. Again, this is a 100% owned land package I want to mention. This is located roughly 4 kilometers to the north, and you can see that we're directly on strike of the Leeville mine. And what I want to point out is these 2 faults, the Four Corners and the Lynn faults, those are the key bounding structures that bound the Leeville underground mine. Now that's roughly a 15 million ounce underground high-grade deposit. And that system, we've mapped those structures all the way up to the north onto our property. Previous operators had felt that, Newmont back 20 years ago had thought that potentially host rocks would be, anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 meters below surface. We went in, we reinterpreted the geology, and what we found with hole 1901 right there is that lower plate host rocks are actually less than 800 meters below surface, well within striking distance of recent discoveries in Nevada, as well as ongoing work being done at the Leeville mine itself. That deposit averages anywhere from 500 to 800 meters below surface on any given day. So we're really excited about the potential there. I think the geologic model confirmed our thought that there's a real opportunity to go out and make a discovery. And where we're heading next is up to the crash zone target. That's where we're seeing a significant increase in surface geochemistry. We know that there's a buried intrusion sitting out there with a mag survey that we ran. And if you look to section BB prime here, I'll point out, before I go anywhere, that's the view from our drill pad, from the 1901 drill pad. You're looking directly at the Gold Strike and Genesis pits. The Gold Strike mill is sitting right here. Here's the tailings facility. I mean, all that infrastructure is right there, right off the edge of the property. There's even old historic roads that go right down onto the mine site. So it's a great spot to be. And then we're looking north on the crash section, or the crash zone. And all I really want to point out with this section is this would be a Leeville analog type of target that we're drilling. You have lower plate rocks that are higher on either side of these the Lynn and Four Corners fault structures. This is supported by gravity and mapping that we've done on the project. Would be very similar to what you see down at the Leeville deposit. And the first few holes are just going to come in and look for altered rock along the margins of these intrusions. It's a pretty simple geologic model, and really it just comes down to testing it. And again, Project Catalyst, I don't want to sound like I'm beating a dead horse here, but we've done all of the baseline work. We've already done the permitting, all that stuff. The only thing left to do is drill this thing. So we're going to be drilling it in early October, and we expect drill results in November at some point. So we'll stay tuned for that. The last project that I want to point out is our Swift project. So Swift is actually our largest land package. It's 51 square kilometers. It's a very similar target to Carlin East in that it's high grade underground gold target. It's 100% owned like all of our projects. Permit is expected, the drilling permit should be approved any day now. And the 2020 drilling is going to target some high grade mineralization that's actually already been identified by previous operators and just never saw follow up. So we're going to head to this next image. And what I want to point out is you can see on the right-hand side, look at how all of these deposits cluster. So Gold Rush, 4 Mile, Cortez Hills, these are massive Carlin-type deposits. They're all owned and operated by Nevada Gold Mines. Barrick made an incredible new discovery at the 4 Mile target just a year or so ago. And what I really want to point out here is that they all cluster along this same northwest trend. So where you get intersecting structures along this main Cortez structural corridor, you end up with a big deposit. Each one of these major mines has a little tiny guys sitting all around them. All those little deposits is signs of a bigger system leaking up from deeper below. And then they typically find the deeper deposit beneath it. Well, we already have the Elder Creek mine sitting right up on the edge of our property boundary. It's a historic open pit that was mined back in the 1990s, just a small little thing in a poor host rock. But to us, that's a significant sign of an active Carlin type system beneath it. And there's never been any real drilling to test that concept, where you have the continuation of that northwest trend right up onto the core of our project, which I have highlighted in a larger blown up image here on the left. So we've done all of that work. We've done the soils, the gravity, the magnetics, all the field mapping to really put these targets together. And what gets us really excited is where that Cortez structural corridor cuts up through our project, right through here. You already have an existing drill hole. 99-5A was drilled in the 1999 by Phelps Dodge, and they actually hit a Carlin type intercept at around 727 meters vertical depth, and they never followed up on it. Now, at that time, back in the 1990s, I probably wouldn't have followed up on a deep intercept like that as well. Pretty deep, and the price of gold was low, but times have changed, and that's a very exciting intercept that we need to follow up on. So I'm going to show you cross-section AA prime. We'll head to the next image here. And what I want to point out, this is northwest, right along the Cortez structural corridor. And what's really exciting is this drill intercept right there is right along the down drop block along a major structural corridor, which would be the DDF fault, which is the surface trace right here. And what got us pretty excited about this is that if you go up onto the other side of that fault structure, you're in significantly shallower rock on this side. It's never once had a drill hole on it. You're seeing fluid flow up all of these structures, which is evidenced by all of these anomalies that are ripping along these structures. You can see up on surface. This is an 18 square kilometer corridor that has had one drill hole along the margin of it, which intercepted pretty significant mineralization, 16.8 meters of 0.7 gold and 0.5 silver. To me, that is a sign of being in the inner alteration halo and being very close to a larger, potentially larger Carlin type system. If I were drilling that target 3 years ago at the McCoy Cove project where we made the CSD gaps discovery, that would be a sign that we're close to the general system and we need to be vectoring in towards higher grade mineralization, which is what we did, and we made a discovery. So we feel like this project's already been pretty significantly de-risked for such a large grassroots project, and we're going to be testing that. We're going to be start drilling probably around September 1st, give or take. We're going to be putting a drill rig out there. So we're pretty excited to see how that turns out. And again, pointing out the exact, the same thing again, but we've done all of the background work. Now it's just a matter of coming in, testing these targets. So across all three projects, we're drilling around 6,000 meters this year. And we think we have multiple catalysts heading into the fall that could be game changers for the company. Discovery at any one of these projects is a big deal for us, and we're really excited to go out and test them. So why invest in Ridgeline Minerals? I already kind of went through this, but do it one more time. But pretty much to point out, the big thing is we're fully funded to complete our exploration activities across all three projects. We have a really young, hungry team that is just excited to go out and make a discovery. We've already done it for other respective companies that we worked for in the past. Now we're doing it for ourselves. We own 17% of the company. And we're going to head out and we're going to make one of these projects work. So we're really excited. If anyone has any questions, I look forward to answering them for you.
So first, has COVID impacted your operations at all?
Well, you know what? COVID did originally definitely made it slow the operations down. When things got really scary in March, we actually ended up skipping PDAC, and we were actually planning on taking the company public in April. And, we took a step back, realized that, this is not the time to be trying to market an IPO. And we kind of retooled our focus for the company. So did it stop our ability to advance our projects? No. We were able to continue forward. We've actually ended up buying a small travel trailer, and our guys camped on site, didn't eat out at restaurants, didn't stay in hotels, and, followed the whole social distancing protocols between March and June of this year. And what it allowed us to do was just continue advancing our projects in the field, which is exactly what the level of work that needed to be done for the scale of projects. Originally it was pretty scary. We were looking at trying to take the company public, took a step back. I think we're in a stronger position now heading into the IPO. And it's been a great day so far. But it was a pretty scary start, but I think we handled it well.
Okay, and then talking about going public, why did you make the decision to go public instead of staying as a private company?
You bet. Well, I think when we first founded the company, private was exactly where we should have been, right? Risky early stage exploration projects still weren't on people's radar, And what it allowed us to do is not worry about what the stock price was that day, and just focus on going out and advancing our projects. So that was great for us in 2018, 2019. Where we're at now is we think we've taken these projects. We feel we've taken these projects to a point where we're have very well evidenced targets at each one of them. We think we have the potential to go out and make a discovery, and we have a lot of shareholders that backed us right from the early days, and stuck with us every single financing, all the way along. They've been with us and introducing us to more people and stuff, some of them whom were on the call. And so it was really important for us to give them that liquidity. If we do make a discovery, I want to make sure that everyone who's backed us right from the start has the opportunity to go out and have some liquidity and some success along with us.
And the IPO did attract quite a bit of interest, correct?
It did, yes. It was a little surreal, actually. I think we launched on a Tuesday, and we pretty much filled our original order of a minimum of 2 million in the first day. And by 7 days in, we were at over 12 million in orders. We ended up having to just, close the marketing down early. And we took, we pretty much came in, we upsized the offering to 5 million, which allowed us to bring in all of the groups that wanted to participate at maybe a slightly reduced level from what they originally wanted, but allowed everyone to get in and have a piece of what we were doing. And yeah, so I think it went over really well. We kind of got, obviously the price of gold took off. I think 2 days after we launched on the 13th, I think gold went up almost 50 or 60 bucks. So it just was lucky timing for us.
Why didn't you take more money, considering it was offered and there's strong market conditions?
I strongly considered it, and I might be kicking myself a year down the road, but I think what kind of really was a big selling feature for us as a private co was the fact that we're very focused on capital structure and maintaining that for us and our shareholders. Me being the largest individual shareholder of the company, I'm always keeping a very close eye on structure and dilution. And we felt that at 45 cents, we felt we were undervalued given the markets and what we were doing in our project. And we were only willing to take 5 million at upsizes to at the end of the day, it was about 48 million shares on the close that we have non-diluted. So that was about the max what we were willing to take at that valuation. Now, if we can raise money at a higher premium down the road, we will absolutely do so. But it needs to be the right move for the company.
Well, it seems that the market agrees with your statement on undervaluation today. Your share price did hit 69 cents towards the start of the webinar.
Oh, really? Well, that's great.
So I will encourage people to submit some questions, and I'll get to those in just a second. I had one more question myself, which is one of the things that I think is really interesting about the story is your relationship with the drillers. Can you walk us through how you came to have a driller as a major shareholder, and why you think that relationship's beneficial to the company?
You bet. No, for sure. So I met Steve Nielsen, the owner of Envirotech Drilling, and my partner, 8 years ago now. He's been my primary drilling contractor for RC drilling in Nevada pretty much since I came to the state. It's been a lot of up and downs in the markets. When times were good, he always gave me very fair pricing. When times were bad, I made sure that he had, that I wasn't bidding out the contract to anyone else but him. So I think we built a lot of trust over the years. And, I went to him and just said, look, I want to set ourselves apart from every other geologist who has a great idea. And there's a lot of them out there that think they do. And myself included. And so how do we set ourselves apart and reduce some risk to the shareholders? And this seemed like a perfect opportunity. Steve himself is an entrepreneur as much as a driller, right? I mean, the guy's got multiple companies. He's very much involved in the drill services side of the industry or mining services side. So whether it's dirt work, him and his dad used to build mine sites back in the 1980s. So the guy's been around Nevada for years, great source of knowledge for our company. And I think it's been a really great partnership so far.
Right. Okay. Now I'm going to open it up to some participant questions. So with the 6,000 meter drill program, will that be spread equally among the projects, or can you kind of walk us through what you have planned for each?
Sure. Yeah. So Selena, which we're drilling right now, is about 1,000 meters. That project, because it's so shallow, I mean, we see mineralization outcropping at surface. So 1,000 meters goes a long way. So we're going to drill 8 to 10 holes probably before this program is done, which will give us a really good first pass, I think, at the deeper covered targets that we're going after. The the Swift project, I think too many S's. The Swift project is going to be getting a 2,000 meter initial program, and we have an additional 14 to 1,500 meters set aside as a follow-up program later in the year if we have any success. And then on top of that, we have another 1,000 meters at Carlin East with additional follow-up budget there as well if we have any success. So Carlin East, since we've already put well over, I think around 1,300 meters, 1,500 meters into it last year, it already has the most drilling on the project. So we're focusing on advancing Salina and Swift to a point where they're kind of at that same level as what Carlin East is right now. And then once we've kind of had those phase one, and in Salina's case, a phase two program put together, I think then we can be a little more objective about which project are we going to advance in 2021.
Okay. And do you have any royalties on the properties?
Yes. So we did the deal with EMX Royalty Corporation. So of course, one of their caveats of doing such a great deal with us, they took a 10% stake in the company back when we founded in return for these core land positions and no work commitments. So it was an incredible deal for us. It really falls into the whole money goes in the ground motto that we have as a company. So in return, they got a 3.25% royalty on each project, on Swift and Salina. Actually, Carlin East is owned by Carlin East LLC. It was an introduction through the EMX guys, but actually a separately owned company. But EMX holds on each project is a 3.25% NSR that can be bought down to 2.25% for $3 million.
Okay, and that makes a nice little transition because we have some questions on cap structure. So let's start with EMX. They are a major shareholder. What's their current shareholder after your IPO today?
You bet. So EMX themselves own 7% of the company as of today. Then on top of it, the EMX executive team has been incredible. And, Dave Cole, Dave Johnson, Eric Jensen, they've been writing checks since our seed round on every single round, and they've been amazing. So collectively, EMX is very involved in the company.
Okay, and are there any other major shareholders that you can talk about?
You bet. Yep. Vior Inc., which is a Canadian-based kind of hybrid prospect generator out of Montreal. They own, again, right in around 7%. And then Ethos Gold Corp owns the remaining about 5% of the company from a public company perspective.
Okay, and management and...
You bet. So management owns 17%. Then on top of that, you have high net worth individuals owning in and around, I believe, off the top of my head, 52% if I was looking at the cap table right now, which I'm not, about 52% for high net worth investors. And then the remainder of the company falls into the institutional basket. So we actually had, I believe it was 11 institutions look at the IPO when we were marketing this thing, and we had all 11 come in on the deal. So it's very exciting for us. So we feel like we have a good mix of institutional support along with a heavy retail backing from, obviously, thank you to the Haywood Group that came in strong on the IPO. So between a strong mix of really great shareholders, guys like Paul Stevens, has been with us for a long time now. Has been a huge supporter of the company. We have great kind of long-term shareholders with guys like Paul. We have the institutions, the retail, and then management holding a lot of stock. So I think it's a good mix.
Yeah, no, I think you have a fantastic registry. It's one of the things that really attracted me to the company. Not being a GO myself, it's hard to evaluate the potential of the property, but when you're investing alongside people that know what they're doing, it gives you a bit more.
You bet. Yeah, I apologize if I got into the weeds there. I kind of get the geology stuff going and start.
No, it's good. It's good. Well, we have a mix of people on the call. A lot of people that know a lot more than me. That's for sure. So just still on the cap structure. So how many shares are free trading as of today? And can you go through some of the lockups and restrictions that are on the stock?
Yeah, you bet. So we were able to get a voluntary 6-month lockup on all seed round shareholders at 12 cents. That's an escrowed lockup that essentially after the first, none of the first seed round is free trading today. After the first month of trading, it'll just start escrowing out on a regular interval about 16.5% over the next 6 months until everybody's fully out on the seed round. The 22-cent round is a 4-month mandatory hold and put in place by the TSX Venture. That again is an escrowed release. So 20% of that is free trading today. So that along with that 20% along with the IPO, which was 11.2 million shares, we have just under 14 million shares free trading today. And that will just be escrowing out on a very gentle escrow over the next 6 months.
Okay. And warrants?
Yes. So we have 6.2 million warrants that came off the IPO. There was no warrants in the company prior to the IPO and any of the private rounds. And we have 3.3 million options to management and insiders of the company. So as I mentioned before, or as you mentioned, actually, when we founded the company, myself, Mike, a lot of this group, pretty much, I worked for no salary for the first 14 months of the company, right? So, the options are a nice way for, along with us all participating financially in each of the rounds, it's also a way of giving us some great incentives. So.
Makes sense. Nice tight share structure. Will you need to make money in the next 12 months to fund further exploration?
No, we're in a great spot right now. Actually, with what we had left in the bank, in the treasury, the 1.6 million as of June 30th, that was enough for us to fully complete our planned exploration programs in 2020 this year. So everything raised on the IPO, obviously, it gives us a lot of flexibility to go out and make if we make a discovery, follow up drilling, etc. But pretty much that entire 5 million that we raised after all the dust settles would be going into our 2021 program.
Okay. And I have a question specifically about your Swift property.
Sure.
And the rift anticline and how that fits into your model.
Yep, you bet. So that's the anticline. Actually, it's called the goat anticline there, and it cuts right across the property and then plunges down towards the pipeline deposit. And what's exciting about that is, regional, large, broad anticlines are key structural components of large Carlin type systems. Some of the largest deposits in Nevada are hosted along the axis of those anticlines. So the fact that we already have one cutting across our properties, kind of sub-parallel to that structural trend that's cutting up from the pipeline and gold Cortez Hills deposits, is really exciting because there's, the Elder Creek mine is actually hosted on that anticline at surface. So it's a really great sign that there's potentially an active Carlin type system at depth. And we'll certainly be drill testing that with holes this year. That's the plan.
Okay. On your website, you have the tagline "Exploration Done Differently," which we also stole for the purpose of this webinar.
Yeah.
Can you explain what you mean by that specifically?
Yeah, I've, pretty much it's kind of funny because it's, when I say exploration done differently, it's actually exploration done kind of exact same as it had been done for a long time in the industry. And I think that kind of started to fade away over the years with, tough markets and stuff like that. And so, when discoveries were being made at a crazy pace back in the 80s, 90s, et cetera, you had a lot of companies that were doing a lot more of that full picture baseline work, right? They did all of the work first, the soils, the mapping, all the boots on the ground work that went into the project before you ever even considered putting a drill hole on it. And we're kind of trying to get back to that. We think that that's how, especially, it's getting tougher to make discoveries in Nevada these days, everywhere, to be honest, right? Global discoveries are dropping considerably. To go into these old districts, which is exactly what we're doing, and picking up these projects and kind of rethinking the exploration models requires that full picture. So what we do is we come in, we do all of that baseline work, and we make sure that we're not taking pot shots, right? We're not taking these one-off drill holes that maybe it'll make our stock go up a few cents. And that's not how we want to run the company. We want to be putting the money where it's supposed to be going, which falls back into our drill program, how the company's structured. It's all about putting the money in the ground. So yeah, that's, from exploration done differently. We'd like to think it's kind of a recreation of some really great old, geos and discoveries from a long time ago. And we're just trying to do what they did already. So
essentially saving money by doing more baseline upfront, reducing your costs, and increasing your potential for discovery.
Exactly. What it does is it actually increases, it can be a slight increase in your upfront costs, because sometimes it hurts to pay for soil samples and it's, and mapping and all these things. It's not cheap to do any of this work, the geophysics, but it does save you money down the road. So you do, if you end up, not drilling 2 holes because you did all of that work, well, that paid for all of that baseline work right there.
Got it. Um, so further to that point, what did you see at the three projects that you picked up that others missed?
Well, it's funny actually. When I went to EMX, I actually flew to their office and pretty much just didn't leave until they until they did a deal with me. But I went to their office and I actually just proposed picking up the Selena project because I'd been trying to pick that up for a few years. I'd really liked it, and I went in, pitched the deal to them, and they said, "Well, we love the drilling contract. Why don't we spin this all, a few other projects we really like into the deal?" And so I got into the weeds on Swift and Carlin East and was blown away. These were grassroots, untouched projects in the middle of some of the most advanced mining trends in the world, right? You have hundreds of millions, a few 100 million ounces of past production and reserves currently in Nevada across the state. And these were right on the doorstep of existing mine sites and hadn't had any work done on them in 30 years. They had all of the right, early indicators that there was an active system at both Carlin East and Swift, at surface. What we're seeing with alteration, rock chips, soil sampling, etc. So that's what really got me excited is the fact that it feels like we're in a grassroots project, but it's a brownfields district. So those two projects, that's what really blew me away. And then Selena was very obvious, just high grade gold at surface, oxide. You just don't find that in Nevada very often. So I think we were lucky enough. The markets were still quite flat back in late 2018 when we started putting this together, and it allowed us to pick them up at a really great price.
Are you planning to use any downhole geophysical tools to guide the drilling and XRF machine to examine the core?
So we've already done the XRF work in the past. We did it on our Carlin East program last year. We did have, I think there was, you could call it mixed success on, the results of what we got out of it. So it's something that we consider and we've already used, and we may use it for future programs. I think it'll be more effective at our Selena project potentially than at Carlin East, where we used it in the past. And downhole geophysics, again, it's something that we're considering. I would like to see a discovery hole, or maybe one or two even discovery holes first at, like, let's say Carlin East or Swift, and then maybe that's something that we can apply. The cost can be prohibitive. So if we do make a discovery and we think it'll add value, then we'd absolutely do it.
Okay. And what's the end game with these projects? You talk about exploration, like how far do you want to delineate these before you would try and maximize shareholder value for them?
You bet. Well, the whole goal when we started this up was to never get too married to our projects, right? At the end of the day, we want to add per share value for our shareholders. And sometimes taking a project all the way to development and production, it can be very value destructive, actually, right? I mean, sometimes it's better off in the hands of an experienced producer. So what we would like to see is we're an exploration discovery focused company. If you were to take a look at the Lassonde curve, you would see that some of the highest value actually comes for a company right at that discovery point of a project. So we'd like to take a project to discovery at the very, probably, we'd have no issue if it looked really exciting to take it to an early stage resource, an inferred or an indicated 43-101. Both Mike and I have done all the way from resource to PEA level studies for our respective companies. We're very comfortable doing that. And if we think that's going to add more value for the company, then we'd take it to that level and then look for, in a strong market like here, we'd look for either to move the asset, find a partner, whatever we think is the best option for the project. So.
Okay. And can you just give us a list of catalysts we can expect over the coming months?
Yeah, you bet. So we're drilling Selena right now. That's going to have results coming in probably in early September, roughly, a month, 3 to 4 weeks from when we finish our program. Swift is going to be right after that. While we're waiting for assays on Selena, we'll already be drilling our first holes at Swift. And then we'll be heading over to the Carlin East project. So what you can see is very steady news flow for the next 3 to 4 months from a drilling perspective. And then on top of it, we're always keeping our eye open for acquisitions in the state. With what we're seeing, we're really excited about what we're seeing at Selena right now. So I think it's certainly, if we can find another great oxide project, which is tailor-made for our drilling contract, then that's something we'd absolutely consider adding to the portfolio. So I'd like to think that we may add some additional projects if the right one comes along, great drilling catalysts. And then on top of it, we're still we've now satisfied our full agreement with EMX. We now are with the IPO today, we're now 100% owners of all three projects. So I think it's a very exciting time for us.
Yeah, I agree. Can you just explain the significance of a potential discovery at Selena compared to Swift or Carlin East?
Sure. So I think, it's tough to put I'm going to stay away from putting any kind of values, anything like that on it. But what's important about Selena is oxide gold in Nevada, gold, silver in Nevada generates a far higher premium per ounce in the ground than deep underground deposits. It's right there at surface. Permitting is very simple, typically for these smaller projects. Permitting is simple. The metallurgy is simple, which can be very difficult in Nevada at times. If you have a refractory deposit, you need to find a mill. So with that in mind, you don't have, if we have an oxide project, we've already done the cyanide test to show that it is amenable to a heap leach operation. So a discovery there opens up the potential buyers for the project if we get to that point, and they can make a heck of a lot of money. You don't have to find 5 million ounces of oxide to have it be a very successful mine. So I think it's got a lot of potential.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any more audience questions. If you have any more, please input them. And Chad, just before we let you go, maybe you could run through the highlights real quick again of why Ridgeline's so compelling.
Yeah, you bet. So probably sound like a beating a dead horse here, but again, it comes back to our team, our projects, and our capital structure. So we have an incredible team. We've found deposits already in Nevada. We'd like to think we're going to find more. We have a great structure, and our team owns a large portion of the company. Like I said, I'm the largest shareholder. I put $150,000 of my own money into the company, and I plan on staying that way as long as possible. And then we have really incredible projects. I think we have a good mix of oxide opportunity at Selena, very near term, something we can quickly and efficiently advance. And then we have really great blue sky opportunity at both Carlin East and Swift. A discovery at either one of those projects is an absolute game changer for the company. So I think from a very high level, that's, kind of my, key takeaways on the company. You can find us on the venture, obviously, at RGG. And we're very active on Twitter, LinkedIn. Our website is being constantly updated. So I really encourage anyone that wants to get into the weeds on the projects more, head over to our website. You can see we have verified projects in all three of our assets. So you can go in, see all the work that we've done, spin them around in 3D, and kind of come up with your own opinion on what you think is going on.
Great. Well, I think if there's no further questions, we can end it there. I really appreciate you taking the time to walk us through what I think is a really exciting new to market story. And I think that Tina and I both agree that your Zoom skills are the best that we've seen. So hopefully,
oh really?
Yeah, with annotations.
I feel like I'm bumbling through the whole thing, so I appreciate that.
No, it's great. You're drawing pictures. It's fantastic. Easy to follow along. So hopefully your Zoom skills translate into like drilling skills.
Let's hope that, right? Let's hope so, right?
Yeah, thank you so much. Once again, the company's Ridgeline Minerals, and they're trading on the venture at RDG, and you're at 67 cents right now. So congratulations on a successful IPO.
Fantastic. Thanks, Deborah. I really appreciate it.